FHA Loan House Hacking. Hey, welcome. Thank you so much for watching the show today. I'm Jeff, the Mortgage Pro. Today, we're going to be talking about house hacking using an FHA loan. So let's start off by defining what house hacking actually is. It's finding ways to generate income from your home. And mostly these are going to be from renting it out. That's basically about how it's going to happen, but there's different ways to do that. So let's dig into it a little bit here. FHA loans, why would people want to use an FHA loan to be able to house hack a property? Because number one, they require very low down payments, 3.5% down, which is some of the lowest that you're going to find other than VA loans and USDA loans, which may not qualify for house hacking depending on what your eligibility is for those different types of products. But FHA loans have low down payments, and they're also not very credit dependent, meaning that you don't have to have perfect credit score to be able to use an FHA loan to buy a house. Okay, so let's go into a couple scenarios here, and then I'll give you my ultimate house hack on the last example here. So the first one is to buy a 1-unit property. That's a property that you're going to live in using an FHA loan, because you have to live in the property when you get an FHA loan. It has to be your primary residence. So you could buy a single family home, you could buy a condo, a townhome, whatever it might be. You can buy a property that has more bedrooms than you or your family need, and then you can rent out the additional rooms that you're not using, either as short-term or long-term rentals. And that'll help you generate some income to help you offset your mortgage payment that you make every single month. And then after a year of living in that property, you can actually move on to another property, rent out that existing property, and then you have your first investment property. So you just became a real estate investor. So that's how to do it with a single family residence. The second house hack using an FHA loan is to buy a duplex. And a duplex is similar to that with the single family. One of the cool things about using an FHA loan to buy a duplex is that you can use the potential rental income of one of the units to offset your mortgage when you're qualifying for the mortgage. And then once you actually get into the house, you can still rent out that other unit that's on the other side of the duplex. So you have to live in one, and then you can rent out the other. But the house hack here is that you could probably also rent out some rooms that you have on your side of the house that you're living as a primary residence. So you could rent out one or multiple rooms. Again, you could do it short-term or long-term. When you think about short-term rentals, you always think like Airbnb, vacation rentals, but in reality, there's so many different types of professionals that travel to different areas for short periods of time. Doctors and nurses come to mind, and so do some business professionals who just need a good place to stay. So you don't always have to think that there's some creepy man or woman that's going to stay in your house when you have a short-term rental. Just find the right type of person that you want, and that could be very useful to help you generate some income in your duplex house hack. The third type of house hack is if you buy a triplex. And remember, a triplex is 3 units. That means that if you're going to use an FHA loan, you have to live in one of them, and then you can rent out the other 2 units. Again, you can use 2 of the units in potential income to help you qualify for the mortgage for the FHA loan that you're going to buy. And then you can rent out the other units once you finally get into the house. The second and third unit, you can rent those out either short-term or long-term. And then you could also rent out any extra additional bedrooms that you have on your side of the property. So that's the third type of a house hack that you can have. And then here's my ultimate house hack, which is to buy a 4-plex. And you could do this as your very first property that you buy. So a 4-plex has 4 units in it. And with a FHA loan, you have to put 3.5% down. Again, you can use the potential rental income of 3 of those units to help you qualify for the FHA loan, which is awesome. And then once you actually get into the property, you can rent the other 3 units, either short-term or long-term. Most people do it in the long-term fashion because you'll have consistency in the rents that come in that way, but there's probably a lot more money to be made if you decided to do short-term rentals on the other 3 units that you have in your 4-plex. And then at the same time, you could also, again, rent out any extra rooms that you have on your side of the 4-plex that you live in as your primary residence. And then after you've lived in that fourplex for a year, you can leave and you can go buy another primary residence, however you want to buy that. And then you can rent out that fourth unit either as a short-term or a long-term rental. But if you think about that, that's how you become a real estate investor. You just have become the ultimate house hacker by using 3.5% down that you worked so hard to save up for to get into that home, to generate income. And what you've really done is you've run a business for over a year when you're renting out those other additional units on that property. And real estate has so many benefits, whether it be tax advantages or passive income, that it's such a great idea. And so the ultimate house hack for me is if you went out and bought a fourplex and then you turn around and rented it out, and then ultimately you have your first full real investment property once you move out of that fourplex into another home. Thanks so much for watching, and please connect with me for more if you need a mortgage in the United States. Have a good day. Thanks.